Hello everyone and welcome back to Destiny. We were just treated to a new Lightfall gameplay trailer. It debuted alongside the 2022 Game Awards, and in the trailer we got a great new look at STRAND, some curious story tidbits, and some hints as how the opening moments of Lightfall might play out. In typical Bungie fashion, it is a killer trailer with some amazing wow moments, and we're gonna break it all down right now. Let's jump into it. Alright, the trailer opens with the voice of Osiris speaking to us about loss and using that instead of strength to overcome the impossible. This sounds like some of the philosophical back and forth that we're going to have with Osiris when we're discovering STRAND. I think he's going to play as the Sherpa for us to discover these new powers of darkness. If you're not aware, last season Osiris did wake up after consuming the essence of Nezarec, so he was born with a little bit of a connection to the darkness in some way. Nezarec is an old and dead disciple of the Witness, but his spirit endures and is most likely now intermingled at the very least and possessing Osiris at the worst. So it's going to be really interesting to see what role Osiris will actually play in Lightfall in between us and the Witness. As Osiris speaks, we see a hunter running in the Neomuna setting, and the hunter looks to be wearing the official destination armor of Neomuna, and that appears to be the case with the hunter in Titans as well, as you see throughout the trailer. As you can see, the colors and the vibe of Neomuna and of Lightfall in general are literally out of this world and give off a huge cyberpunk / Blade Runner vibe, which I'm a huge fan of. The hunter also looks to be holding a weapon from the Neomuna set of weapons, and you'll notice that all of these weapons will have this sort of pink glowing swirl pattern about them. We'll point them out as we go along. Moving on from there, it looks like the hunter then leaps off of a high ledge before activating the STRAND quickfall ability, starting with a backflip and finishing with a very Spider-Man-esque pose, which then causes nearby enemies to become suspended in the air, tangled in STRAND webs. This appears to be the first of the hunter STRAND aspects, similar to the abilities that are available with Stasis and Void. Moving on, we get a look at a few more of the weapons. We see the grenade launcher followed by the sniper rifle, and also it looks like we see a pulse rifle as we move into this next room. Now, the biggest wow moment of the trailer is pretty much what happens next, and that is as the fire team enters this next room, we see the Titan in front of the hunter player activating Thunder Crash and missile across the room. However, not before the STRAND hunter latches onto the Titan using a STRAND grapple hook ability. Bungie previously mentioned that you can grapple at any point, even showing us how you can latch onto a moving train, but to latch onto other Guardians just opens up so many more insane possibilities. Now, another thing to note is that the hunter detaches from the Titan before latching again onto an enemy Cabal. This showcases the offensive capabilities of the grapple hook. After all, the grapple hook does occupy the grenade slot, so it needs to be justified as a grenade as well. Here we can see the grapple hook causes some kind of suppression effect while it's latched onto the target, and of course learning the official STRAND verbs will help us figure out what exactly might be happening here, but at least you're getting pulled into the enemy, so at the very least it's going to be a great way to close the gap. In this case, however, the hunter appears to have some kind of charged melee attack that finishes off the Cabal. It does also seem to be using some kind of melee magnetism and perhaps requiring momentum to activate, similar to, say, shoulder charge for the Titan. This could be something that requires you to be flying through the air and then will magnetically lock on to one of the enemies as you get close enough to perform this finisher. So this could just be the hunter melee, or it could be the second aspect. Now, this next section features a lot of really interesting details that are super easy to miss, so we're going to take this really slowly. Starting with the Titan, we see them crossing from right to left, shooting what looks to be a STRAND machine gun. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, but it does appear to be shooting green rounds. And of course, it features the pink swirling pattern that we've seen on the other Neomuna weapons as well, so at the very least, we know it's a new machine gun. Here we also see the Warlock use what looks to be a melee ability that throws a sort of STRAND bomb that binds nearby enemies. You can see it actually binds these few Cabal. After that, we see our Titan deploy a barricade, which then sends a wave of strand threads forward. And of course, that is definitely one of the Titan aspects. Next, we see some tanks rampaging through the entire scene, so you can bet there will be at least one mission featuring tanks in the new Lightfall campaign. Moving on from there, we see what looks like a warlock grappling through the air over some bound enemies before tossing what looks like some kind of throwing knife that travels through all of the bound enemies. It's hard to say whether or not these enemies are being killed by this melee attack or what is exactly going on here. Maybe they're just being damaged a lot, but it seems like Strand does seem to be keeping enemies alive more, so it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be as powerful as some of these abilities of light, which cause things like jolting and exploding and ignitions. And I bring this up only because it is a current conversation with Strand. Why slow something when you can just make it explode immediately? So I'm hoping that Strand gives us a reason to use it beyond just the novelty of it, and that it becomes a strong subclass for us to use for a long time moving forward. Next up, we get a brief glimpse at a Tormentor. These are terrifying new mini-boss type enemies that are coming in Lightfall. We'll see more of them in a bit. But next up, we see the supers being showed off for each of the classes. The Warlock has telekinetic strand missiles, which look to activate similar to Nova Bomb. The Hunter has a rope dart, and the Titan gains these giant claws, and then you can roam around and claw at the various enemies. While the Titan and Warlock supers look similar to current other supers in the game, the Rope Dart super has some truly unique aspects of it, and the range just looks to be absolutely insane, so they all should be pretty fun to use. But moving on from there, we move on to the last leg of the trailer, which shows us a lot of cool story beats and cinematics, so let's go ahead and take a closer look at those. We start with what looks to be the opening action set piece for Lightfall. Here it looks like a high orbit battle above Earth against what appears to be Callus's Dark Army and his fleet. They seem to be either invading Earth or flying very close to Earth, most likely targeting the Traveler. There might be something that goes down with the Traveler at the beginning of Lightfall. The game is called Lightfall after all, and I imagine that light will have to fall in some way to kick off the events of this next year. Here we're catching some human ships swooping down to try to fight off the fleet, but somehow I feel like it's not going to go very well. We then have a very deceptive cut to a Cloud Strider surfing through what I believe to be structures of Neomuna. It's just a fun little editing gimmick that you'll see in a lot of trailers, just intercutting scenes that look like they might go together in a quick succession, but don't actually, and just work really well for the rhythm or the beat of the trailer itself. But yeah, I have a lot of really interesting thoughts about Cloud Striders and how they might play into the larger Bungie universe. I'm super curious to learn more about them, as I think that Bungie is sort of slow cooking them for another spin-off franchise featuring the Cloud Striders themselves. And of course, I'll go into that more in another video. But back to the trailer, we see we are back over to a Warlock that now appears to be on top of the Helm ship. And we know this is orbiting above the moon, and that sort of checks out as far as the structure that we're on, because we can see Earth is quite a bit farther away in the background. And it looks like the Warlock is trying to hold on to the hull before the Helm apparently is jumping away, maybe some sort of emergency jump. But either way, it looks like this is how we get to Neptune. We're getting emergency jumped over there using the Helm, which kind of makes sense, since Bungie will most likely want to continue to use the Helm as the sort of seasonal vendor destination. So whatever Season 20 ends up being as far as the seasonal content, you can bet you'll be interacting with the Helm again, the war table. This time it'll be above Neptune. Next, we see a Titan burst through a destroyable door, confirming that a shoulder charge type ability is going to be coming to Strand. Next, we see the Tormentor in all of its glory, and it appears to be killing a Guardian. It's hard to tell whether or not this is just a cinematic for the sake of the story, or if this is how all of the Tormentor finishers will be happening, but you definitely want to stay away from this thing. Tormentors are a new enemy type, just kind of like how the Lucent Hive were a new enemy type for the Witch Queen. Now, Lightfall brings the Tormentor, which are just the agents of the Witness, directly from the Witness. They are the same race as Rulk is, it appears. Not really sure what enemy race this is, but it looks like the Witness has some kind of control over them and is using them to try to destroy your face. All of our faces. Don't let it happen. Finally, we see some shots of the witness. First, we see an outstretched hand, and then we have some, again, clever editing into a different scene, which is not the outstretched hand scene, but we see the witness standing there regardless, being engulfed in some sort of violent light. It looks like this might be a portal to the realm of the Traveler or inside the Traveler or something along those lines, maybe some kind of realm of pure light. We still don't know, and we don't really know what's going to be happening once the witness confronts the Traveler. This is sort of like an overarching plot point that's going to be happening alongside the normal campaign of Lightfall, which I think is us looking for and defeating Callus. But of course, we've got this bigger fight of the Traveler versus the Witness. It's going to be really interesting to see what their interactions are going to be during the campaign. And from here, it looks like the Traveler might be a little overwhelming for the Witness. It's going to be, again, really interesting to see what happens here. But we can see we've got this overgrowth of trees and red leaves. This kind of has some vibes of the Tree of Silver Wings, which we learned a lot about in Season of Arrivals, and might be hinting that the Traveler is sort of always aggressively terraforming everything that it touches, and maybe that's not always a good thing. Maybe we're going to be going more into the gray areas between the Traveler and the Witness. It's going to be really interesting stuff, and I hope they address it, a lot of it, head on. I mean, we are essentially getting pretty close to the end of this saga. We have the final expansion coming next year in the final shape. We have not a lot of time to go over a lot of these lore tidbits, and I hope that they can really take the time and do it justice. But anyways, that is the Lightfall gameplay trailer that debuted with the Game Awards last week. I hope you enjoyed it. I always enjoy these new trailers, and I can't wait to learn more about Strand and more about what we can expect in Lightfall. If I missed any details, definitely let me know down below. What is your favorite moment in the trailer? It's kind of hard to beat the Thunder Crash grapple, but let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.